Welcome to the Executive Corner, Episode 3. Thank you all so very much for tuning in to another episode in this series. I'm Simon Preston. If you haven't already, please do hit the like, share, and subscribe button right here to JFF Live, and also purchase your membership of $9.99 as well. There's some friendly internationals on the horizon, not only for our senior men's team, but also our senior women's team as well coming up. So you'll want to stay tuned for that, as JFF Live will have access to these games. So let us get into our guest for today. Now, our very special guest today is the first female that we're having in the series, and she also holds a FIFA record. Please help me welcome Crystal Walters, team manager of the Reggae Girlz. Hi, Crystal. How are you?
Hi, Simon. I'm doing well.
It's such a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time. I know, especially with the obligations you have and the demands of the craft that you have, how critical time is. So really appreciate this time to spend with us right here on this platform. It's appreciated.
It's my pleasure to make the time out, to at least shed some light on what is happening with the senior Reggae Girlz.
Firstly, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Actually, today I've been, one of those days I'm really good.
Very nice, very nice. Good to hear. Let's start where it all began for you in terms of growing up. Was football always a part of your life, whether playing or just watching it?
No. To be honest, football wasn't always a part of my life. I actually got introduced to football in third form. Track and field was though. It was always a part of my life in terms of, you'll be doing a lot of running, a lot of sprinting around, around the house and stuff like that, a lot of chips and stuff like that, marks to say, you run primary school. I've participated in the primary school track and fields events. I've continued in high school where that was where football, was born for me in third form. Based on my sprinting capabilities, and that's where it began, and that's where the love it started. After learning the game, after seeing what the game can do for me, that was where it started.
All right. From a playing standpoint, where were you on the field of play? A defender, midfielder? Where were you on the field of play?
Well, actually, any coach, for the viewers watching, any coach with you have a sprinter, a quick person, you always want that quick person at the top, So I was actually a center forward at the Jonathan Grant High School.
A goal scorer.
Yeah.
They're hard to find,
Yes.
Oh, that's very nice.
Special, position on the field.
Left-footed, right-footed, a mixture of both.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Eventually, I learned how to use the left foot. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very, very nice. And I'm assuming that this is something you continued as well at St. Jiggo as well. Did football continue?
Yes, I did continue with my football career at the St. Jiggo High School. That was really some of my memorable moments came from St. Jiggo High. The atmosphere, in terms of game, Rivoli, persons from Rivoli would come out, show their love, show their support, and it gave a sense of community. It gave a sense of love, and it gave a sense of belonging there at St. Jiggo. And I think that's where it really cemented for me in terms of continue to grow, in terms of moving on to the Premier League, the Women's Premier League, and continuing with the sport itself.
Right. That experience for you, what was that like in terms of the Premier League, coming up against girls from all across the island? What was that experience like for you?
Listen, those were the days, and I must say, Simon, I'm happy to share this on this platform because those were the days when Sharon Williams Premier League at the time, the love, the support that the women's side of things usually gotten those days when Sharon Williams was really that staple piece of the women's league. The development, the branding, persons were eager to go out and see the matchup, the clashes, those days, and trust me, it was really tremendous, back then.
Wow, quite an initiative. In terms of the capacity you're in now, would you say there's some things from your playing career that help you in your current role today as a team manager?
That's a must, Simon. I couldn't have transition, especially in a time when I had transition. Being a player, it really had helped, to shape me in terms of understanding from a player perspective, and administratively the JFF have curved me to understand and develop in this pathway.
In terms of the opportunity right now, the role that you're in right now, tell us how that came about An opportunity that came out of the blue, playing, hard work. Tell us how that you led it into this area.
Well, I was actually in camp, in national
Oh.
camp at the time.
Hmm.
We were completing some Sagicor health forms, and that's where I started helping the late Jean Nelson. May God rest her soul in peace. I started assisting the players, in terms of completing these documents, and that's where every paperwork. Miss Nelson would even call up by short to meet me up there, to complete documentations, and that's where I started. And I remember that summer was where she really worked hand in hand with the Sports Development Foundation, who had played a significant role as well in terms of my internship here at the JFF. So I
Wow.
actually started as an intern here at the Federation from 2016. So I've been here
Wow.
from 2016 as an intern, and it's like I was actually a staff, not just an
Mhm.
intern, because I was right throughout. I learned as I go along. I've worked in the marketing department. I've worked closely with Miss Nelson. I've worked very closely in any respective department that needed that support, and that was the nature of internship here at the Federation. The love, coming in and learning the task and building. You see a part where you build, you learn as you go along.
Wow, and it just goes to show, where it all began to where it is today. It just goes to show to everyone that is watching this video right now, let Crystal be an example for you, helping out and assisting, and you see the opportunities that unfolds over time. So amazing, amazing, Crystal. Do you remember the first match that you would have been involved with the Reggae Girls, or what your feelings or emotion was that first camp you had?
I I was nervous, like Simon. I was nervous because in 2022,
Mm.
the news had really broken to me in 2021 in the December. But in 2022, when I was supposed to assume my role, there was a lot of moving particles. There was a lot of distraction. She young. How will she relate? How will she communicate with these players? These players won't accept her. There was a lot of comments from a public perspective. But I use that as a motivation, and to be honest, I was nervous, and that's natural. It's natural. It's okay to be nervous. It's okay, to second guess, but it was still the motivation, the drive for me to go, show up, prove myself, and do the work. It wasn't playtime, it wasn't a
Mm.
dollhouse, it was work. It's business. So I had to, go see what it's like, apply myself, learn as I go along, listen to the persons who would have been there, from a longer time, not from a player perspective, but administrators, whether supporting staff. It was that time to show up, listen, and complete whatever task was given unto me.
And Crystal, I don't think a majority of persons publicly would be aware of the demands that you would have, not only outside of a camp, but in a camp, speaking with CONCACAF or FIFA or the administrators, everything to organize before match day. Travel.
It's no joke,
Mhm.
right? The job is no joke, and not too often. Sometimes persons hear football and think, okay, it's just football. They just sit in office and it's only game time. They're active. Football is a 24-hour job. It's 7 days a week. It's right throughout the year job. It's a job. It's an actual job. And if you survive in football, you can survive anywhere, corporate, anywhere. The lifelong skills that you learn in football, can carry you. It's a moving particle. It's a vehicle that can, carry you anywhere, any organization, anywhere that you look to transition and go. Football, this is a foundation. This is where it curves. This is where this is where it builds you mentally, physically. This is where it really starts. It's not easy.
I can imagine. And I never forget what you said, Crystal, in terms of on a match day, your attire, how you dress, you represent the ladies.
So let me
Explain
so
it.
so match day training is different. So you'll show up dressed down for training. But it wasn't a immediate thing that when I get the job, yes, I still present myself. I was
Absolutely.
presentable from the get-go. But as you go along, you realize you want to be the brand, and it's important you understand what you're worth, and it's important you understand the brand. You are a brand, I am a brand, and the Reggae Girlz is a brand to itself, and as one of the face for the Reggae Girlz, I too have to display and bring forth that look. So training is different. I'll be in my regular training kit, Adidas kit.
Yeah.
But I think on game day where all camera light action, that's out, I think my A plus game needs to shine. I think that's the stage for me to shine, because all the work would have done, and it's time for the players to do their part, and it's a time for the manager to be the face as well and look the part. So I always look forward to game day, and I think the players themselves have always looked forward to manage what you're wearing today. And I think I enjoy, giving them, that attire, so they can say, they can critique and tell me what they like from what they, because I think that builds them as well to see their manager looking, stunning out there on the pitch.
Yes, absolutely. Very, very nice. And Crystal, you've done something that many Jamaicans haven't done to date and still working on, that is to be at a World Cup. Can words describe those emotions, being a Jamaican at a World Cup?
I'm still trying to relive and enjoy and embrace the moment, because trust me, Simon, it's really, I'm really here, that moment. And just bear in mind, you were just put in that role, qualify. I remember when persons and the comments, and they're not gonna make it, the group of death. And we had all these big name teams in our group.
Right.
I don't think much persons were looking for the team success, but without a doubt, Simon, I did believe in that team that I had. Because, looking from the outside is one thing, but being within, we are a family. The Reggae Girlz, we are a family within. Whether we have disagreements, yes or no, internally, we are a family. We stand together, we fix, we move, and we go along. And we remain steadfast to that one goal. And I think when we were at the World Cup, that moment for us meant so much. Not just for me, but as a group. It meant so much when we qualified. That was just touching, If we could just replay those moments to see how we were joyful in the locker room, how we celebrated, because it's business. Once we're in camp, it's business. But you see, that last day, once the mission is completed, we are gonna celebrate as a family, because football is family.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. I love the word usage and everything you've put together from that experience, from the qualifiers to the World Cup. Because as you said, it was such a quick turnaround. We started qualifiers February 2022, and we're qualifying in August in Mexico.
It was
It's
it was just
just
so fast.
yeah.
Yeah, that was just so fast. We keep moving, we keep going, and just
Yeah.
bear in mind, young girl. I think I was one of the youngest team manager there at the World Cup. And it's not really good to give yourself credit sometimes. It's good to hear it, from others. And trust me, I think I displayed, and I think I stand up. I think I stood up, and I think I did made Jamaica proud as a manager, um as a employee of the Jamaica Football Federation, as a product from Jamaica. I think I stood my ground. I think I did, exceptionally well at the World Cup.
Something perhaps a little deep. A message to young women or young people generally, as we can show them that young persons can have an impact, can achieve. A message or a word of advice for young persons in your shoes as well.
Balance. One word, balance. And balance, respect, self-worth. It's important that you understand your worth as a woman, as a young girl. It's important you understand how to balance your time with social media, balance your time with your priorities, balancing your time with your ultimate goal. and just balancing your time with whatever task you have. And it's important that you respect yourself, because you won't always get the respect that you think you deserve, but it's important that you understand your self-worth, your ultimate goal, and with that it will show your true respect to yourself, and eventually others will respect you.
A day in the life of Crystal Walters. What is that like? Exciting, riveting, busy. What is that? What is that day like?
Mad.
One word, folks.
Mad.
From the moment you
It's
wake up till
crazy
yeah.
because it's not just something you look and say, all right then. A lot of persons want the role, Simon. Can I say that? Yeah.
I can imagine.
It's a job that a lot aspire to sit and do. It's a job that persons, I can do better at. It's a job that persons, one day I will be the Reggae Girlz team manager.
Mm.
It's a lot, Simon.
Yeah.
Time management. You're dealing with a delegation of 36 different personalities, 36 different countries,
Yeah.
different locations you're taking these players stuff from.
Different time zones.
Time sensitives.
Players in Japan, England.
And time zone. So probably when you think of 3 a.m. Jamaica time that you are looking to cuddle or sleep, you have to balance and monitor that timing to know that, listen, I have to be up. My computer have to be on, my phone, I have to reply when especially when we're traveling. And my players can tell you, even staff, you'll get me. It doesn't matter the time, I'll respond. It must be a valid reason why, probably I get an email or something and I can't respond immediately. But once I get that, Simon, I'll respond. So effective communication in terms of how you communicate or do you relay information to these players and staff. Or you organize yourself because you're working with different departments internally to get things done. Sometimes you'd want things to move speedily. Sometimes it won't be
Takes time.
the case. How do you communicate in a way where it's understandable? How do you communicate in a way where it doesn't cause conflicts or confusion? Confidentiality. I don't play with players details, players information that's sensitive. I don't play with that. So as a person aspiring or wanting to be, you have to understand that your timing, your personal life, this job takes away from that. It really does. You will have some time where probably, but this job really does, Simon. If you really mean business and really mean qualifying and really mean going to the World Cup, it takes time and it takes eye focus and stuff like that, to be at your decks, not just come in when you feel like, or 2 days a week, but being here 7 days a week, doing the job, replying to players, pressuring coaches. Probably you would have a few times where you probably have disagreements with coaches and probably other members of the staff and even players, but the ultimate goal has to be completed. So it's crazy, it's mad.
Yeah, and just for the benefit of the viewers, every department, you have to have that regular dialogue with equipment to make sure the kit and everything is ready. Technical with the coaches, medical, of course, massage, physio, etc.
If I might, Simon, equipment.
Yeah.
Right? For me,
Yeah.
that's critical, and still learning. And when I look back, you would have players manage, the staff are in that, and we don't have that as yet. And I really take those details and I really go back to the drawing board and I really do apply back pressure. Once these complaints are lodged, probably I'd get on a call with probably Adidas, with probably our general secretary, probably even Mr. Simpson. I'd say, boy, the players, they need so and so. But then it's left up to me to liaise with our equipment personnel to ensure that these things are organized and these things, once they're available, these things are retrieved for the players, because female players, they want to look good. They want to feel good, and a part of their performance is, their image, how well they look, how marketable they are, how well they look walking through the airport. And these are really important. It might look simple, but it's very critical, in terms of a team performance and a team, whole mental state and stuff like that.
Well said. Now it is an exciting summer ahead. How is the planning going, and how much are you looking forward to these two big matches on the horizon, especially from a Jamaican standpoint? One is the number one team in the world. The other, they're runners up at the World Cup.
Beautiful. It doesn't matter the results for us, but just getting these games, these high games, high quality games, on these international platforms, in preparation for October, November, for our official kickstart to our World Cup campaign in 2027. It's really important for us to see where we are, to see what areas need to be improved, to see where we are going as a team, and to see how quick we can adjust if there's any adjustment that needs to be made.
I think based on my account, Crystal, I think you've been to 30 countries. If you had to pick one that you've enjoyed so far, what would that be?
The flight is long though, Simon, but
Yeah.
I definitely would go back to Australia.
Wow.
Like, I definitely would. Clean, beautiful, relaxing, and it just at peace. Yeah, I definitely would go back to Australia.
Crystal Walters, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it, and all the best ahead of not only the summer, but the qualifiers that commence down in the road.
My pleasure.
All right, folks, there we have it with Crystal Walters, team managers of the Reggae Girlz, and also as well general manager of the Jamaica Women's Premier League. Thank you, Vern, again to Walters for her time. And folks, don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe button to JFF Live. This is episode 3 of the Executive Corner, and stay tuned for episode 4 coming up quite soon.